Right, here we are, guys. Hole number 6 here of the Vineyard Acres. And what I'll usually use for this, if at all possible, would be, let me get this screenshot real quick. Sniper will usually be my club of choice. You need at least a 7 for this hole. Guardian 1, you just have to have it unlocked. Either 2 or 3, you get a distance increase, which will end up helping you, but it pretty much starts off right at sniper distance, so not too mandatory. The one thing that you might want to have specifically for this hole is a decent power ball, because of the fact that you might come up in certain winds where you might need to go into some overpower. So the way that I'll typically play this one is right here. And we'll try to do some kind of bounce shot that lands right here and then just kind of rolls out. So that second bounce kind of hits that front edge of the green and just kind of rolls towards the pin a little bit, breaking left to right. And in terms of how much spin I usually use, let's put together my diagram here. So for the side wind case, we will usually use for a base 4. And that's kind of where the Sniper 7 comes into play. It's nice to have a Sniper 8. You can kind of tweak your land zone a little bit, but what can potentially happen, especially in the tailwind case, you kind of need to crank it up just a tiny bit. So, this is going to be a little bit closer to like 4.5, 4.75 in this case, which you really don't have the luxury of doing on Sniper 7. However, you can cheat that land zone just about a yard, and it kind of accounts for that. So if you land right on the very front of that fairway and get a little bit more aggressive, you're still okay. So here, I'll use maybe 4 1/4. And then down here, I might use 3.5, for example. Just start to back off of that a little bit. Depend on how high the wind gets up. You could maybe even go 3 1/4 instead of 3 1/2. But for most circumstances, we'll be around here. Now, what you have to worry about a little bit here is some elevation changes. So as I pull down towards this bunker, I can no longer go max. So with the tailwind case, I might not even quite go max, because I'm usually pulling into this bunker surface. Now it does, the bigger that it gets, the less you have to go. But you might want to use, max minus 10% in this tailwind situation. Whereas with the side wind, we can just pretty much go max. Spot up for the most part. Make sure that it is a true side wind to use this max, because if you're pulling down, that's not going to be a good thing. It's also going to cause the ball to, come up short because you pull into this lower surface. So if you're pulling down into those sands, you might want to just take off just a tiny bit of your adjustment, maybe 10%. For the headwind case, we're going to go at least max. And depending on how large it is, you can go max plus 10% to as much as plus 20% in certain situations for this tour. And the biggest problem with the headwind case, especially if you don't bring a power 3 ball, for example, is you're really going to put yourself into potentially not even being able to make this fairway without overpower. So that's going to be the biggest variable. So, one of the biggest reasons, if this hole shows up, you'll be covered for half of the winds with smaller balls, but you might find that you need or get in a really sticky situation where you might need to go overpower without a power 3 ball in this tour. So good luck with this hole, guys, and catch you guys on the next guide.